Hi everybody, Simon here from the 𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. You might remember last week I did a brief introduction to our 8 steps to becoming an integrated fit pro program, framework, whatever you want to call it. And I said I was going to do one on each of the steps. Things got in the way, life got in the way. I wasn't very well for a bit, and then it was Easter, and then I was going to do it, and there were builders outside making a horrendous racket. So here we are. I've finally got round to finding the space to do this live. I'm going to be talking about step 2 here, and I'm going to just share my screen so that you can see what the step 2 looks like. So hopefully you can see that of the 8 steps that are in the background, number 2's highlighted: tissues, movement and injury. When I was developing this framework, I was at a loss as to where to put this one, because it's a theme that runs through the whole of the framework, whole of the program. Okay, but it's important that we understand not only the problem, which was the problem we're trying to solve, which we talked about in the last live, but also the context of that problem with what we actually deliver on the program. And what we deliver on the program is a new mental model around injury. Mental models are really important. They allow us to look at a problem in lots of different ways. I'm going to be talking a lot about that in posts in the group over the next few days, but we need as many mental models as we can to look at a problem. If we get constrained in the mental models that we use, then we get constrained in terms of how we can solve problems. The most abundant problem solvers, the best problem solvers, are those that have the most mental models. And what we're doing is developing a really powerful new mental model for looking at the human body, in particular musculoskeletal injury. So essentially what this new mental model delivers is reframing how you look at client problems, which is fundamental. The client comes in with problem, and that can be an exercise, it can be a movement, it can be an injury, it can be any type of problem, but we need a new model in order to give us the best possibility of solving problems. And ultimately what we deliver is better problem solving and therefore better results. So it's a new mental model for how we look at the client problems. It then gives you allows you to reframe what you are capable of as a professional, as an exercise professional, as a movement professional, as a manual or physical therapist. We completely throw away the constraints and boundaries which we've all been taught are our constraints and boundaries. And I'm not talking about boundaries that require us to refer on to other professionals. I'm talking about what we believe we can deliver and what clients believe we can deliver as professionals. And that leads on to us being able to reframe the services and solutions that we can offer. So in this step, we just do a broad brush overview, but fundamentally what we're doing is redefining injury. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail. I could talk about this one for hours on end. I'm obviously not going to in a short live like this, but we reframe injury. What is injury? Okay, right now we have a very narrow view, and I include myself when I learned, when I started off in this industry, we have a very narrow view about what an injury is. We generally think of it something we're in pain. We throw that out the water. We throw that completely out. Okay, injury is not when we're in pain. And why is that? Because our bodies choreograph injury. Injuries don't just happen. Okay, our bodies choreograph injury. Okay, so it's what's going on inside our bodies that defines when and where and how we get injured. Functional movement is defined as being able to perform movement as per our unique design, using the correct tissues, using the correct structures at the right time, not simply whether things look correct. Now, I'm going to say something now which might frighten you. I don't know. Some people who are not in the injury space or don't consider themselves into the injury space, 97% of the people that walk into your exercise studio, your gym, your clinic are injured. The vast majority of that 97% don't know it, and you don't know it either. So we're going to reframe that, not in a frightening way, but actually just reframing a new mental model of saying, okay, what I'm seeing with a movement issue, or an exercise issue, or muscle tightness or weakness, or any of those things which we reframe on the program, okay, that is an injury. And we need to look at it as an injury. What we need to unravel is this layers of compensation, which the body, to allow the body to choreograph injury. Take away the layers of compensatory issues in the body, and we significantly reduce the risk of somebody incurring a painful injury. Okay, so we're moving from taking people out from I am injured, although they may not realize it, and you may not realize it, because muscle tightness and muscle weakness are injuries. Okay, and we talk about that a lot on the program, to something that's really painful and potentially life-changing or life-affecting. So that's what this step is all about. It's reframing how you look at the problem. So somebody comes in with persistently tight hamstrings. Okay, I'm putting it in quotes because we throw away that language on the program, but for now, somebody comes in with persistently tight hamstrings or persistently weak glutes, and we completely reframe the way you look at that, because we cannot move without our tissues. Our movement systems globally in the body define whether we're going to get injured or not. So we can't just say, right, we'll look in this small area because that's tight or that's weak or that's hurting. We have to look at the whole body. We have to look at the whole body. And when we say look at the whole body, we have to look at all the movement systems in the body, because it's the movement systems which govern what's happening to the tissues. And turn that round, we can't move without our tissues. So it's a relationship which we need to unpick that relationship. What's happening with our movement systems? What's happening with our tissues? Okay, and that's essentially what we do throughout the whole of this program. So this sort of step 2 is giving an overview of that. Injury is choreographed by our body. That choreography of injury is dependent on what our movement systems are doing to then drive what our tissues are doing. Hence, tissues, movement, and injury. That's the new mental model that we deliver on the program. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because, as I said, I could go on and on and on this one, but this is a theme that runs through everything throughout the 8 steps. Okay, but we introduce it because we have to say, when a client comes in with whatever problem they have, whatever, a movement issue, an exercise, they're struggling with an exercise, or they're struggling with a movement, or they've got tight muscles, or they've got weak muscles, or whatever, or even if they've got, a painful injury, we need to start looking at what's choreographing that situation. And that is what we do on the program. You start to build the tools and understanding to unpick that choreography that's delivering a movement issue, an exercise issue, or even an injury issue. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope that's been helpful. That's step 2. I will now hopefully go on to do one of these short lives on each of the steps in the program, or the framework. I'm debating as to whether to call it. It's a coaching program, but the 8 steps is a framework. Okay, so it's not a method. It's not a proprietary method. It's just a new mental model of how to look at the human body to solve human body problems, exercise problems, movement problems, and injury problems. Rightio, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, or thanks for watching live, or watching on the replay, and I will see you very, very soon.